Lisa Morgan was drinking her morning coffee when the universe changed forever. She sat in the captain's chair of the Starship Endeavour, watching the stars through the big window in front of her. The ship was quiet, except for the soft hum of the engines. It was supposed to be a normal day. The communication screen suddenly lit up with bright colors. Lisa nearly dropped her coffee cup. The screen showed symbols she had never seen before. They moved and shifted like living things. The computer made worried beeping sounds. "Captain," called out her communication officer, Pete Johnson. His voice was shaky. "We're getting a message from, well, I don't know what from. The signal is stronger than anything we've ever seen." Lisa put down her coffee and walked over to Pete's station. The young man was staring at his screen with wide eyes. Numbers and letters were scrolling by faster than anyone could read them. "Can you translate it?" Lisa asked. Pete's fingers moved quickly over his keyboard. "The computer is working on it. This is definitely not human technology. The signal is coming from the Kepler sector." Lisa felt her heart beat faster. The Kepler sector was known to have alien life, but humans had never made contact with anyone there. Earth's government had rules about staying away from that area of space. "Translation complete," the computer announced in its calm voice. The screen cleared and words appeared in English. Lisa read them out loud. "To the humans of the ship Endeavour. We are the Zephyrian Collective. We need your help. Please come to the station called Harmony's Edge. The fate of many worlds depends on you." The bridge became very quiet. Lisa's crew of 12 people all looked at her. She had been their captain for 3 years, and they trusted her to make the only right choices. But this was bigger than anything they had ever faced. "There's more," Pete said. He touched his screen, and more words appeared. "We know humans are new to space travel. We know you have no experience with galactic politics. But we have studied your people. You think differently than other species. We need someone who can see problems in new ways." Lisa felt confused. "Why? You? Why now?" The message continued. "Our empire has been at war with the Nexarai Federation for 300 years. Many planets have died. Billions of people are gone. We have tried to make peace many times, but it never works. Other species have tried to help us, but they all failed." Lisa's science officer, a woman named Carol White, spoke up. "Captain, I've heard of this war. It's one of the biggest conflicts in the galaxy. No one has been able to stop it." The message kept going. "In 7 days, both empires will use planet-killer weapons. We will destroy each other completely. But first, we will try one more time to make peace. We want a human to be our mediator. You are the only human ship close enough to reach us in time." Lisa felt the weight of the decision on her shoulders. "How do we know this is real?" As if answering her question, the view screen changed. It showed a massive space station floating in the darkness. The station was bigger than any human city. It was made of crystal and metal, and it glowed with soft light. Ships from 2 different alien races were docked around it. "This is Harmony's Edge," the message said. "It is a neutral station where we will meet. The Nexarai Federation has also been invited. They have agreed to try peace talks one more time, but only if a human comes to help." Lisa looked around at her crew. They were all young explorers who had signed up to see new worlds and make discoveries. They had not expected to be asked to save the galaxy. "Captain," said her first officer, "a man named Danny Rodriguez. We should contact Earth Command. This is too big for us to decide alone." Lisa nodded, but she knew there was a problem. How long would it take to get a message to Earth and back? Pete checked his computer. 18 days minimum? And how long do we have to reach the station? 7 days? Lisa understood. By the time Earth could tell them what to do, it would be too late. The decision was hers to make. She thought about her training at the Space Academy. She had learned about first contact protocols and diplomatic procedures, but nothing had prepared her for this moment. She was just a ship captain who liked to explore new places. "Tell me about the war," Lisa said to Carol. Carol pulled up information. On her screen, the Zephyrians and the Nexari started fighting over some special crystals needed for faster-than-light travel. But the war became about much more than that. The Zephyrians are spiritual beings who believe in honor and tradition. The Nexari are part machine, part biological. They believe in logic and efficiency. So they're completely different, Lisa said. Yes, and they hate each other. The Zephyrians think the Nexari have no souls. The Nexari think the Zephyrians are chaotic and wasteful. Lisa walked back to her captain's chair. She looked out at the stars and thought about Earth. Her home planet was peaceful now, but it had not always been that way. Humans had fought terrible wars throughout their history, but they had learned to work together. "Captain," Pete said quietly, "there's one more part to the message." Lisa looked at him. "What does it say?" "If we don't come, and the peace talks fail, the planet killer weapons will destroy everything in a radius of 50 light years. That includes 17 inhabited worlds with younger civilizations." Lisa felt sick. 17 worlds full of people who had nothing to do with this war would die if she said no. She made her decision. "Set course for Harmony's Edge," she told her pilot, a young woman named Amy Chun. "Maximum speed." The crew looked surprised, but they began following her orders. Lisa knew she was taking a huge risk. She had no training in galactic diplomacy. She did not know anything about alien cultures. But sometimes, she thought, that might be exactly what was needed. As the Endeavour changed course and headed toward the unknown, Lisa wondered if she was making the biggest mistake of her life. Or maybe, just maybe, she was about to do something that would change the galaxy forever. 5 days later, Lisa stood on the bridge of the Endeavour and stared at the most amazing thing she had ever seen. Harmony's Edge was even bigger than the pictures had shown. The space station stretched out in all directions, like a small moon made of crystal and metal. Lights moved along its surface in patterns that looked almost like music. "Captain," said Amy Chun from the pilot's seat, "we're being asked to dock at Bay 17. Lisa nodded. She had spent the last 5 days reading everything the ship's computer had about the Zephyrians and the Nexari. The more she learned, the more worried she became. The Zephyrians were beautiful creatures that looked like living crystals. They were tall and thin, and their bodies gave off soft light. They talked to each other using sounds that were like singing. Their culture was based on honor, tradition, and spiritual beliefs. They had been spacefaring for over 2,000 years. The Nexari were harder to understand. They had started as a biological species, but over time, they had replaced parts of their bodies with machines. Now they were more robot than living creature. They made decisions based on logic and efficiency. They believed emotions were a weakness. "The docking is complete," Amy reported. Lisa took a deep breath. "Carol, you're in charge while I'm gone. If something happens to me, take the ship back to Earth and tell them what we learned." Carol White looked worried. "Captain, are you sure? You want to do this alone? Maybe Danny or I should come with you." Lisa shook her head. The invitation was specific. They want one human mediator. Taking more people might make them think we don't trust them. She walked to the airlock and put on her dress uniform. It was dark blue with gold buttons and looked very official. She wanted to make a good impression. The airlock opened, and Lisa stepped onto the station. The air smelled like flowers and metal at the same time. The walls were made of some kind of crystal that changed colors as she walked past. A tall figure was waiting for her. It was her first real alien. The being was at least 7 feet tall and made of what looked like blue-green crystal. Light moved through its body like slow lightning. When it spoke, its voice sounded like wind chimes. "Welcome, human Lisa Morgan. I am translator Vishtal. I will help you understand our words and our ways." Lisa tried not to stare. The alien was beautiful in a way that made her think of church windows and starlight. "Thank you for inviting me. I hope I can help." Vishtal began walking down a long corridor. Lisa followed, trying to take in everything she saw. The station was full of aliens she had never imagined. Some floated in the air like jellyfish. Others looked like walking trees. A few seemed to be made of pure energy. "Many species live here," Vishtal explained. "Harmony's edge is neutral territory. No weapons are allowed. No violence is permitted. It is a place for peaceful discussion." They passed a large window that showed the outside of the station. Lisa could see ships docked all around the structure. She recognized the sleek, organic shapes of Zephyrian vessels. But there were also dark, angular ships that looked like they were built by machines. "Those are Nexari ships," Vishtal said, noticing her gaze. "They arrived 2 days ago. Prime Node Vex 9 leads their delegation." Lisa felt nervous. Have they said anything about having a human mediator? They are ... curious. The Nexari do not understand why we chose such a young species. They believe logic is the only way to solve problems. They think emotions make negotiations fail. They walked through several more corridors before reaching a large room. The walls were covered with screens showing star maps and battle reports. Lisa saw images of destroyed planets and burning cities. The war had been going on for so long that some of the pictures were of places that no longer existed. "This is the information center," Vishtal said. "Here you can learn about our conflict with the Nexari. We have prepared materials in your language." Lisa sat down at a desk and began reading. The history of the war was complicated and sad. It had started 300 years ago when both empires discovered a system of planets rich in quantum crystals. These crystals were needed to make faster-than-light travel possible. At first, both species had tried to share the system. But the Zephyrians believed the crystals were sacred. They thought the crystals had souls and should be treated with respect. The Nexari saw the crystals as a resource to be harvested efficiently. Small disagreements became bigger arguments. Arguments became fights. Fights became battles. Battles became a war that spread across dozens of star systems. Lisa read about the failed peace attempts. The Valdorian Council, an ancient species known for their wisdom, had tried to mediate 15 times. Each attempt had failed when cultural differences made communication impossible. The Synthesis Network, a group of artificial intelligences, had also tried to help. They had created detailed logical plans for sharing resources. But the Zephyrians had rejected any plan that did not account for spiritual values. "The war has cost us greatly," Vishtal said sadly. "We have lost many worlds. Our people grow tired of fighting, but we cannot accept the Nexari way of thinking. They want to strip mine sacred crystal gardens and turn them into industrial complexes." Lisa looked up from her reading. "What do the Nexari say about this?" "They say we are inefficient and wasteful. They believe our spiritual beliefs are illogical. They think the universe should be organized for maximum productivity." A new voice spoke from behind them. It was flat and mechanical, like a computer speaking. "That is a reasonable assessment." Lisa turned around and saw her first Nexari. The being was about her height, but its body was a mix of metal and flesh. One arm was clearly mechanical, while the other looked biological. Its face was half covered by a metallic plate with glowing lights. One eye was organic, the other was a red electronic sensor. "I am Interface Unit Kex 3, the being said. "I am?" here to provide the Nexare perspective on this conflict. Lisa stood up and offered her hand. I'm Lisa Morgan. I'm pleased to meet you. Kex3 looked at her hand with confusion. This is a human greeting ritual? Yes, it shows respect and friendship. The Nexare carefully took her hand with its mechanical arm. The metal was cold, but not unpleasant. We have studied human customs. Your species is ... unpredictable. Is that bad? Lisa asked. It is inefficient, but it may be useful for this situation. The Zephyrians are also unpredictable, but in different ways. Vishtal's light flickered with what Lisa was beginning to recognize as annoyance. We are not unpredictable. We follow the sacred harmonies that have guided our people for millennia. Sacred harmonies are not logical, Kex3 responded. They cannot be quantified or optimized. Lisa could see that even this simple conversation was turning into an argument. She stepped between them. Maybe we could focus on what both of your people want instead of what you disagree about. Both aliens looked at her with surprise. What do you mean? Vishtal asked. Well, you both want to survive, right? You both want your people to be safe and happy. You both want to explore space and discover new things. Those are your real goals. The crystals are just tools to help you reach those goals. Kex3's mechanical eye whirred as it focused on her. That is an interesting way to frame the problem. But the Zephyrians refused to harvest resources efficiently, and the Nexare refused to respect the spiritual significance of the crystals. Vishtal added. Lisa smiled. Then maybe we need to find a way to do both. For the first time since she had arrived, both aliens were quiet. They seemed to be thinking about what she had said. The formal negotiations begin tomorrow, Vishtal said finally. High Resonator Hethmara will represent our people. Prime Node Vex9 will speak for the Nexare. Will you be ready? Kex3 asked. Lisa looked around the room full of star maps and battle reports. She thought about the 17 innocent worlds that would die if she failed. She thought about her crew back on the Endeavor, trusting her to make the right choice. I hope so, she said. I really hope so. Lisa woke up before dawn, station time. She had barely slept. Today was the day that would decide the fate of billions of lives. She sat on the edge of her bed in the small guest room and tried to calm her racing heart. She had spent the evening reading more about both species. The Zephyrians had beautiful art and music. Their cities were built to honor their gods and ancestors. The Nexare had created amazing technology and efficient systems. They had eliminated poverty and disease from their society. Both cultures had wonderful things to offer the galaxy. Both had reasons to be proud. But they could not see past their differences. Lisa put on her uniform and walked to the negotiation chamber. The room was huge, with a high ceiling that showed the stars outside. In the center was a triangular table made of some kind of white stone. 3 chairs were placed around it, one for each negotiator. She was the first to arrive. The room was quiet except for the soft hum of the station's life support systems. Lisa sat in her chair and tried to imagine what her instructors at the Space Academy would do in this situation. The problem was, humans had never done anything like this before. They had rules for first contact with new species, but nothing about mediating ancient wars between alien empires. The door opened with a soft chime. High Resonator Hethmara entered the room, and Lisa forgot to breathe. The Zephyrian leader was the most beautiful being she had ever seen. She was tall and graceful, made of crystal that shifted between gold and silver. Light moved through her body like flowing water. When she walked, she seemed to float just above the ground. Human Lisa Morgan, Hethmara said, and her voice was like a symphony. I am honored to meet the one who may bring peace to our suffering peoples. Lisa stood up and bowed slightly. The honor is mine, High Resonator. I hope I can help. Hethmara took her place at the table. You are very young. By galactic standards, your species has only been in space for a few hundred years. Why should we trust you with something our oldest civilizations could not solve? Before Lisa could answer, the door opened again. Prime Node Vex 9 entered, and Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. The Nexari leader was more machine than biological. His body was mostly metal and circuits, with only a few organic parts visible. His face was a flat screen that showed geometric patterns. When he spoke, his voice came from speakers built into his chest. High Resonator Hethmara, Vex 9 said without any emotion. You arrive early. This is inefficient. The scheduled time has not yet been reached. Time is a construct, Hethmara replied, her light flickering with annoyance. The universe flows according to its own rhythm. Time is a measurable quantity that allows for proper scheduling and resource allocation, Vex 9 responded. Your mystical thinking is one reason our negotiations have failed in the past. Lisa could see that they were about to start arguing before the talks even began. She cleared her throat. Maybe we could start by talking about what brought us here. Both aliens looked at her. Vex 9's screen flickered, and Hethmara's light dimmed slightly. We are here because our peoples are dying, Hethmara said. The war has gone on too long. Our crystal gardens are withering. Our young ones are born into a universe of violence. We are here because continued warfare is inefficient, Vex 9 added. Resources are being wasted on weapons instead of research and development. Our productivity has decreased by 37%. Lisa nodded. So you both want the war to end. That's a good start, but not at any cost, Hethmara said firmly. We cannot allow the sacred crystals to be stripped from their gardens and processed in factories. The crystals are alive. They sing with the voices of our ancestors. The crystals are minerals with useful properties, Vex 9 replied. They should be harvested using optimal methods to maximize yield and minimize waste. Lisa saw that they were heading toward the same argument that had been going on for 300 years. She had to do something different. Can I tell you a story? She asked. Both aliens stared at her. A story? Hethmara asked. Yes, it's about my world, Earth. Maybe it will help explain why I'm here. Vex 9's screen showed what Lisa thought might be confusion. How is a human story relevant to our situation? Just give me a chance, Lisa said. If it doesn't help, we can go back to your regular negotiations. The aliens looked at each other, then back at Lisa. Hethmara's light grew brighter. Very well. We will listen to your story. Lisa took a deep breath. A long time ago, on Earth, there were two groups of humans who hated each other. They were called the United States and the Soviet Union. They had different ideas about how people should live. The Americans believed in freedom and individual choice. The Soviets believed in equality and shared resources. This sounds similar to our situation, Vex 9 observed. It gets more similar, Lisa continued. Both sides built terrible weapons. They pointed nuclear missiles at each other. Everyone thought the world was going to end in a nuclear war. Hethmara leaned forward. What happened? They realized that destroying each other would accomplish nothing. So they found ways to compete without killing each other. They raced to see who could get to the moon first. They tried to build better technology. They even worked together on some projects, like a space station. But they still had different beliefs, Vex 9 pointed out. Yes, they did. The Americans never became communists. The Soviets never became capitalists. But they learned to exist in the same world without destroying it. Lisa looked at both aliens. Maybe the Zephyrians and Nexari don't have to think the same way. Maybe you can both be right about different things. That is impossible, Vex 9 said. Either efficient harvesting is correct, or it is not. Logic does not allow for contradictions. Either the crystals are sacred, or they are not, Hethmara agreed. Truth cannot be divided. Lisa smiled. On Earth, we have a saying, there's more than one way to skin a cat. Both aliens looked horrified. You skin cats? Hethmara asked. No, Lisa said quickly. It's just an expression. It means there are many ways to solve the same problem. She stood up and walked to the large window. Outside, she could see the ships of both fleets. Look at your ships. Zephyrian ships are beautiful, like works of art. Nexari ships are efficient, built for maximum performance. Both designs work. Both get you where you want to go. But one design is clearly superior. Vex 9 argued. Superior for what? Lisa asked. If you want to inspire people, the Zephyrian design is better. If you want to transport cargo quickly, the Nexari design is better. They're both good, just for different purposes. She turned back to the table. What if the same is true for the form? Crystals? What if there's a way to harvest them that respects both your needs? Impossible. Both aliens said at the same time. Lisa sat back down. Let me tell you another story. On Earth, there are places called national parks. These are beautiful, natural areas that people want to preserve. But people also want to visit them and learn from them. How is this relevant? Vex 9 asked. At first, people thought you either had to keep everyone out to protect the parks or let everyone in and risk damaging them. But we found a third way. We let people visit, but we control how many come and how they behave. We use the money from visitors to take better care of the parks. Hethmara's light flickered with interest. You found a way to protect the sacred places while still allowing access? Exactly. And not only that, but the visitors learned to love and respect the parks. Some of them became protectors themselves. Lisa looked at both aliens. What if there was a way to harvest crystals that actually made the crystal gardens healthier? What if the Nexari could use their technology to help the crystals grow better? The Nexari only know how to take, Hethmara said. They do not understand creation. The Zephyrians only know how to worship, Vex 9 replied. They do not understand utilization. But what if you could learn from each other? Lisa asked. What? If the Nexari could teach the Zephyrians about technology, and the Zephyrians could teach the Nexari about beauty and meaning? The room became very quiet. Both aliens seemed to be thinking about what she had said. You suggest we could cooperate, Vex 9 said slowly. But our differences are fundamental. Our beliefs are sacred, Hethmara added. They cannot be compromised, Lisa nodded. I'm not asking you to compromise your beliefs. I'm asking you to use your beliefs to help each other. The Zephyrians believe in harmony, right? The Nexari believe in efficiency. What if there was a way to create efficient harmony? She could see that both aliens were starting to listen, really listen, for the first time. The conversation was far from over, but something had changed in the room. For the first time in 300 years, two ancient enemies were beginning to consider that maybe, just maybe, there was another way. By the third day of talks, Lisa felt like she was trying to build a bridge over an ocean. Every time she thought she was making progress, the old arguments would start again. Hethmara and Vex 9 had been enemies for so long that they could barely sit in the same room without fighting. Lisa had tried everything she could think of. She told them more stories about Earth's history. She showed them pictures of human art and technology. She even tried to get them to eat lunch together, but that had ended badly when Vex 9 criticized the way Hethmara ate. The Zephyrians absorbed nutrition through their crystal skin, which Vex 9 called inefficient. The Nexari used a feeding tube that connected directly to their internal systems, which Hethmara called disgusting. Lisa sat alone in the negotiation chamber, staring at the star map on the wall. She could see the locations of all the worlds that would die if the peace talks failed. Innocent people who had never heard of quantum crystals or ancient wars would be wiped out in a few days. She was about to give up when she noticed something strange about the star map. The territories of both empires were marked in different colors. Zephyrian space was shown in gold, Nexari space in blue. But when she looked closely, she saw that the shapes were almost identical. Both empires had expanded in the same pattern. They had colonized the same types of star systems. They had built their borders in similar ways. Even their military strategies seemed to follow the same basic rules. Lisa stood up and walked closer to the map. The more she looked, the more similarities she found. Both empires had research stations near black holes. Both had mining operations in asteroid fields. Both had built defensive networks around their home systems. They're the same, she whispered to herself. They're doing the same things, just for different reasons. The door chimed, and Vishtal entered. Human Lisa, you missed the evening meal. Are you well? Lisa turned to her translator friend. Vishtal, can you answer something for me? Why do? The Zephyrians build their cities in specific patterns? The patterns follow the sacred harmonies, Vishtal replied. Each building is placed to create the most beautiful sound when the wind blows through them. The cities sing with the voices of our ancestors. And why do the Nexari build their cities in patterns? They calculate the most efficient placement for each structure. Maximum productivity with minimum resource usage. Lisa pointed at the map. But look at this. Both types of cities have the same basic shape. The Zephyrian cities just happen to be efficient, and the Nexari cities just happen to be beautiful. Vishtal's light flickered with confusion. That cannot be correct. The Nexari cities are ugly industrial complexes. Have you ever seen one? Well, no. But we have been told. Lisa smiled. Maybe it's time we all saw things for ourselves. The next morning, Lisa called for a special session. When Hethmara and Vex-9 arrived, she had the room's screens showing pictures of cities from both empires. I want to show you something, Lisa said. These are Zephyrian cities. She pointed to images of crystal spires and flowing architecture. And these are Nexari cities. She showed pictures of metal and glass structures with clean lines and efficient design. Both aliens looked at the images with interest. What is your point? Vex-9 asked. Look at the patterns, Lisa said. Look at how the buildings are arranged. Look at the transportation systems. Look at the energy distribution networks. Hethmara's light began to pulse slowly. The structures are similar in organization. The efficiency ratios are comparable, Vex-9 admitted. This is unexpected. Lisa brought up more images. Your ships, your technology, even your military tactics. You've been fighting each other for 300 years, but you've been developing in the same direction. That is impossible, Hethmara said. We follow the sacred harmonies. They follow cold logic. But what if harmony and logic lead to the same place? Lisa asked. What if the universe has rules that work for everyone, regardless of why they follow them? She called up a new image on the screen. It showed a quantum crystal garden, the beautiful formations that had started the war. Look at these crystals. The Zephyrians say they're sacred because they create harmony. The Nexari say they're valuable because they're efficient. But maybe they're both right. Vex-9's screen flickered. Explain. The crystals grow in mathematical patterns that create the most efficient energy storage possible. But those same patterns also create beautiful harmonics when energy flows through them. The efficiency is the beauty. The beauty is the efficiency. Lisa could see that both aliens were starting to understand. You've been fighting over whether the crystals should be harvested efficiently or treated as sacred. But what if doing one automatically means doing the other? The sacred harmonies Are mathematical? Hethmara asked slowly. And mathematical perfection ... creates beauty? Vex 9 added. Lisa nodded. On Earth, we have scientists who study this. They've found that the most efficient solutions in nature are often the most beautiful. The way birds fly, the way water flows, the way planets orbit stars. Efficiency and beauty are connected. She walked to the window and looked out at the space. Station. Even this station proves it. Harmony's Edge was built to be a perfect meeting place. It's efficient because it can house many species safely. It's beautiful because the architects understood that form and function work together. But our people still have different values, Hethmara pointed out. We cannot simply ignore our beliefs. And we cannot abandon logic for mysticism, Vex 9 added. Lisa turned back to them. I'm not asking you to change your values. I'm asking you to use your values to help each other. She brought up a new image on the screen. It showed a diagram she had been working on all night. What if we created joint research stations? Places where Zephyrian crystal singers could work with Nexari engineers? The Zephyrians could teach the Nexari how to listen to the crystals, how to understand their natural harmonics. The Nexari could teach the Zephyrians how to enhance crystal growth, how to create more efficient energy systems. Both aliens stared at the diagram. You suggest we could learn from each other, Vex 9 said. More than that, Lisa replied. I think. You need each other. The Zephyrians have been so focused on preserving their traditions that they've stopped growing. The Nexari have been so focused on efficiency that they've forgotten why they started. What do you mean? Hethmara asked. Lisa called up historical records on the screen. Look at your early history. Both species used to explore for the joy of discovery. You built beautiful things and efficient things because you were curious about the universe, but the war changed that. Now you only build weapons. You only explore to find strategic advantages. You've forgotten what made you great in the first place. She could see that her words were having an effect. Both aliens were looking at the historical records with something like sadness. The war has cost us more than ships and soldiers, Hethmara said quietly. It has cost us our dreams. Our innovation rates have decreased significantly, Vex 9 admitted. We have focused on destruction instead of creation. Lisa felt a surge of hope. But it's not too late. You could still choose to build instead of destroy. You could explore together instead of fighting each other. The quantum crystals could be the beginning, not the end, she continued. Instead of fighting over who gets to harvest them, you could work together to understand them better. Maybe you could even learn to grow new crystal gardens. Grow new gardens? Hethmara's light brightened. The crystals could spread to other worlds? If we understood their biology better, yes, Lisa said. And if we understood their energy patterns better, we could create more efficient systems throughout the galaxy. Vex 9's screen showed complex calculations. The potential benefits are ... significant. More than significant, Lisa said. Think about it. Two of the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy, working together instead of against each other. What couldn't you accomplish? For the first time since the negotiations began, both aliens were quiet for a long moment. Lisa could see them thinking, really thinking, about what she had said. You propose that we could achieve more together than apart, Vex 9 said finally. I propose that you've been so busy fighting each other that you've forgotten you're on the same side, Lisa replied. You both want to understand the universe better. You both want your people to thrive. You both want to explore and discover new things. Hethmara's crystal form began to glow brighter. The sacred harmonies speak of unity and diversity. Perhaps the Nexari are part of the greater symphony. And logical analysis suggests that cooperation produces better results than competition in many scenarios. Vex 9 added, The Zephyrian approach might provide variables we have not considered. Lisa felt her heart racing. This was the closest they had come to an agreement. So what would you need to make this work? What would it take for your peoples to trust each other? The Nexari would need to prove they can respect the sacred nature of the crystals, Hethmara said. The Zephyrians would need to prove they can work efficiently without wasting resources. Vex 9 replied. Lisa smiled. What if we started small? What if we created one joint research station with equal numbers of both species? A test to see if cooperation really works better than conflict? Both aliens looked at each other across the table. For 300 years, Lisa woke up to the sound of singing. At first, she thought she was dreaming. But as she became more awake, she realized the sound was real. Beautiful, harmonic voices were echoing through the walls of Harmony's Edge. She quickly got dressed and ran to the negotiation chamber. When she arrived, she found something she had never expected to see. Hethmara and Vex 9 were sitting together at the table, working on a document. The Zephyrian was humming softly, and the Nexari was making small electronic beeps that somehow harmonized with her song. "Good morning, human Lisa," Hethmara said when she saw her. "We have been working through the night. The mathematical models are quite fascinating when combined with harmonic theory," Vex 9 added. "We have developed a preliminary framework for cooperation." Lisa sat down at the table, hardly believing what she was seeing. "You've been working together? Your stories about human cooperation made us curious," Hethmara explained. "We decided to attempt a small experiment. We tried to solve one simple problem together. The problem was how to optimize crystal growth rates while maintaining harmonic integrity," Vex 9 said. "Separately, neither of us could find a solution, but together, ... He activated a holographic display above the table. It showed a crystal garden, but unlike any Lisa had seen before. The crystals grew in perfect spirals that pulsed with energy and sang with beautiful music. "It's incredible," Lisa whispered. "The Nexari technology can enhance the natural growth patterns," Hethmara said excitedly. "And the Zephyrian harmonic knowledge can make the enhanced crystals even more efficient. The energy output is increased by 400%, Vex 9 reported, and the harmonic beauty is beyond previous measurements." Lisa looked back and forth between them. "So you can work together?" "It appears so," Hethmara said. "When we stopped arguing about who was right and started asking what was possible, everything changed. We have spent the night developing a comprehensive peace proposal," Vex 9 announced. "Would you like to review it?" Lisa nodded eagerly. The two aliens began explaining their plan. They would create a joint council with equal representation from both species. The disputed crystal systems would become shared research territories. Technology and knowledge would be exchanged freely between the empires. Most importantly, they would work together to spread crystal gardens to other systems, sharing the beauty and efficiency of the crystals with younger species throughout the galaxy. "What about your fleets?" Lisa asked. "The planet killer weapons?" "They will be dismantled," Hethmara said firmly. "The resources will be used to build research stations and exploration ships." "Joint exploration ships," Vex 9 added, "designed with both Zephyrian aesthetics and Nexari efficiency." Lisa felt tears forming in her eyes. "You've really done it. You've ended a 300-year war. We could not have done it without you," Hethmara said. "You showed us how to see past our differences to our common goals." "Human thinking is quite useful for problem solving," Vex 9 agreed. "You approach challenges from unexpected directions." A soft chime sounded through the station. Vishtal's voice came over the communication system. "All delegates, please report to the main assembly hall. The formal peace ceremony will begin in 1 hour." Lisa walked with Hethmara and Vex 9 to the assembly hall. The huge room was filled with representatives from dozens of species. "News," of the peace agreement had spread quickly through the galaxy. Everyone wanted to witness the historic moment. The ceremony was beautiful and strange. Hethmara sang the traditional Zephyrian peace song, her voice creating harmonics that made the crystal walls of the station glow. VEX9 recited the Nexari efficiency codes, mathematical formulas that somehow sounded like poetry when spoken aloud. When they signed the peace treaty, the document itself was a work of art. It was written on a sheet of biometal that changed colors as the words were added. Both species had contributed to its creation, and it reflected their combined talents. "This is more than a peace treaty," announced the station's director, an ancient being from a species Lisa didn't recognize. "This is the birth of a new age of cooperation in the galaxy." As the ceremony ended, Lisa received a message on her personal communicator. It was from Earth Command. "Captain Morgan," the message read, "word of your success has reached Earth. You are hereby appointed as humanity's first galactic ambassador. Return to Earth when your mission is complete to begin establishing formal diplomatic relations with our new alien friends." Lisa smiled as she read the message. She thought about her crew back on the Endeavor, waiting to hear how the negotiations had gone. She thought about Earth, her home planet that would now take its place as a full member of the galactic community. But mostly, she thought about what had happened in the negotiation chamber. Two species that had hated each other for centuries had learned to work together, not by giving up their beliefs, but by finding ways to use their beliefs to help each other. After the ceremony, Lisa stood with Hethmara and VEX9 on an observation deck, watching the first joint Zephyrian Nexari science ship being launched. The vessel was beautiful, with flowing crystal sections and efficient metal components working together in perfect harmony. "What will you do now?" Hethmara asked Lisa. "I'll go home and tell my people what happened here. But I think I'll be back soon. Humans have a lot to learn about the galaxy." "And the galaxy has much to learn from humans," VEX9 added. "Your approach to problem solving could help resolve other conflicts." Lisa nodded. She could already imagine the possibilities. There were probably other wars going on, other species that thought their differences couldn't be resolved. Maybe humans could help with those too. "The Zephyrian Council has voted to offer humans access to our crystal-growing technology," Hethmara said. "And the Nexari Federation wishes to share our efficiency optimization systems. In return," VEX9 continued, "we would like to learn more about human diplomatic methods." Lisa laughed. "I'm not sure we have any methods. We just try to find common ground and hope for the best." "Perhaps that is exactly what the galaxy needs," Hethmara replied. As Lisa prepared to return to the Endeavor, she received one final surprise. Representatives from 17 different species approached her, all asking if humans would be willing to help mediate their various disputes. "It seems you have started something significant," Vishtal told her. "Word is spreading that humans can solve problems others cannot." Lisa felt both proud and scared. It was a big responsibility to represent her entire species in galactic affairs. But she also felt excited about the possibilities. A month later, Lisa stood on the bridge of the Endeavor as it approached Earth. Her crew had been amazed by her stories of the peace negotiations. They were all eager to see what adventures would come next. "Captain," said Pete Johnson from his communication station, "we're receiving a transmission from Earth Command. They want to know if we're ready to escort the first alien diplomatic mission to Earth." Lisa looked out at the stars, thinking about all the species she had met and all the ones she had yet to encounter. The galaxy was full of different peoples with different beliefs and different ways of thinking. But underneath all those differences, she had learned, were the same basic desires: to survive, to grow, to explore, and to find meaning in the vast universe. "Tell Earth Command we're ready," she said. "And Pete, send a message to Harmony's Edge. Tell them that humanity is honored to be part of the galactic community. and we look forward to helping build a more peaceful universe. As the Endeavour headed home, Lisa smiled. She had gone into space as an explorer and come back as a diplomat. She had left Earth as the captain of one small ship and returned as the bridge between humanity and the stars. The war between the Zephyrians and Nexari was over. But for Lisa Morgan, the real adventure was just beginning. The galaxy was full of problems that needed solving, conflicts that needed resolving, and species that needed to learn. They had more in common than they thought. Maybe, just maybe, humans were exactly what the galaxy needed to help everyone find their way to peace.